All right, guys, this is part two of our interview with Rui Gomes Da Silva. We had an absolute blast chatting with him. Very insightful. If you haven't seen the first part, just go on our channel, take a pull up the video. It's just a very back and forth, great conversation we had, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
And then the other thing I want to touch on was so this may be getting into the campaign a little bit. The system at Benfica is a little bit confusing for a lot of people from the outside, especially people in North America, where they go, okay, we're socios, it's a member club, but one vote doesn't count one vote. A vote sometimes depends on tenure. A vote sometimes depends if you're a president of a casa or if you're depending on the situation. And then even the ability to vote, there we have so many socios, but if you look at the total number of people that actually vote in the elections or the assemblies, it's not really that many people. It's a very small group of votes dictating a lot of things that happen at the club. And I feel part of it is that it's very much within an inner circle, within people that know well, and they're quite involved with the club at the same time. But there's a lot of people that are associates that would participate more if they knew how to participate more. They don't even understand how it works. So if hopefully you're the president and you have this opportunity to maybe obviously I love the idea of talking about football and improving the team on the pitch. But for members to be able to vote, do you kind of foresee any changes you'd want to make in the process or how the process works that you'd like to see done differently? Or
Of course. You spoke about Kyle Lucas. Let me.
Yeah, sorry, I jump everywhere.
For Kyle Lucas, for example, bought by 4.5 million euros, I think.
Yeah.
And when you look to Kyle Lucas, you understand, and everybody knows that, except the newspapers that during the 2 or 3 days that will say that it's a fantastic player. But even the newspapers writers know that Kyle Lucas will never play in Benfica. You know.
Yeah.
So it's because, as you used to say in football and used to say in sports, the good can become bad, but the bad players never can improve to a good player. So when you look to Kyle Lucas, it's a fantastic player to play in the Middle East, to play in Saudi Arabia or in Dubai or in the Emirates. But he's not a player to play in Portugal, in Benfica, and to play in Champions League. So, anyway, and about the vote, yes, it's a very complicated vote. It was more and more complicated every change of the bylaws. But what we can say, the first reason why we have changed the law, we changed laws after the first and second Champions League in 61, 62, and 63, because the people from supporting that hasn't the possibilities to see great matches began to become members of Benfica, to have very good matches by a small price. And then at that time we make the difference and says till 10 years you have one vote, after 10 years you have 10 votes. It was a difference because after that then you have a real relation of fidelity with the club. After that, we have improved we are speaking about 2010. The difference, the difference of bylaws that is till 5 years you have one vote, 5 to 10 you have 5 votes, till 25 years you have 20 votes, and after 25 years you have 50 votes. This is difference. My proposal that I wrote it already is that we can change, or small difference between that, because nobody from Sporting will become members of Benfica, or 1 year of member, 1 vote. And then if I have 50 years, I have 50 votes. If I have 49 years, I have 49 votes. You know that you pay with the vote for each year you are a relation of fidelity with the team. You pay the codes, you pay the fees, the monthly fees, the return fees. So you have probably that, or less than that. Then you can have, 1 vote till 5 years, 2 votes to 10. But this is a tradition, and we can go against traditions. But if I have 24 years of members of the Benfica, I have 25 votes. If I have 25 years and 1 month, I have 50 votes. So it means that you must have 25 guys of between 1 and 5 years to make the same votes that I have with 20 years of membership. then definitely we have to change that first. And then we have to change another thing, that the houses of Benfica, that are the representatives, has nowadays 50 votes. At that time, I can imagine that probably it will have a reason. The reason that we have to change is that if I want to have 50 votes as member of Benfica, I have to be member of Benfica for 25 years and 1 year and 1 month or 1 day. And the House of Benfica to have 50 votes, the member, the president of the House must have 1 year of Benfica membership. So, and this is the difference that is completely. You have houses of that only the president of the board, the president of fiscal account of the accountant, and president of the General Assembly they are obliged to be members of Benfica, and the other guys cannot be members of Benfica, and they have 50 votes every house. So this is immoral. This is not. This is completely against the laws of the democracy, because it's a building that votes, and we have to change that. Very, very, very. We're discussing with the people, discussing with the houses that are the principal interested on that, but the one that felt with in there that it was that was not acceptable to have these kind of things. What I propose that for example, to be president of Benfica, you can be president of Portugal with 35 years. To be president of Benfica, you only can be president of Benfica with 43 years, because you must have 25 years of member after the 18 years old. So it means 43. It's not normal, and there was a reason, a historical reason, because the president at that time don't want that some guys
rally up a bunch of people
against him, some special guys at that. So he changed the laws. At that time, we in 2010, when we changed the laws, I was in the member of the board, and I says, I am the only one that can run for presidency against the president, because the rules are so close that in all the board, I am the only one who can go against him. So, and the destiny is here. So I'm running against him. I will try to do my best and to win the election.
And in terms of getting to get the support of the Kazash, because I find that, and I agree with what you're saying, because let's say if you're doing it by year, so let's say I'm a member for 24 years, I get 24 votes, but the current setup is that all you have to do is focus on a specific group. So you go after all the Kazas to get their group, and if you do and it becomes very hard for someone like yourself to run, because all of a sudden you got an existing president that can easily over the years go to the Casa Toronto, do a special event with the Casa Toronto, and they feel more obliged to maybe vote for him because he brought the Taça de Liga to the Casa Toronto for a big event. And so you get this conflict of interest, right? Because everyone's Benfica-ish, everyone wants good things to come. And then if you're a Casa and you kind of feel, if I don't give my vote to the person, then maybe they won't come next year with the Taça and things of sort to visit. It creates a conflict. How are you trying to win some of these Casas? Do you get much input, like when you reach out some of these causes, are they very closed right now to the president, because it feels like it's like this group right now, or do you find you get some of these causes open to talking about the idea of getting some votes your way?
Before, even if I'm a member of Benfica since I was born, I spent 30 years in politics. So I was member of Portuguese Parliament during 22 years, from 1987 2009. I was minister near the Prime Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. I was vice president of a party. So I was member of NATO Parliamentary Assembly and president of Portuguese delegation, and for that reason I spent 14 years in this job, traveling for 10 years, 2 or 3 times to the United States, to every year to Washington. In December we had meetings, one meeting in December as chairman of the Portuguese delegation or vice chairman, etc. So this is a political run. This is a political campaign. What I'm doing, I'm contacting every house to speak with them. And do you know, I can confess to you that I'm very astonished with that. Because the idea that you had in the beginning, the very beginning, was everybody was connected to the president, everybody belongs to the majority of the president, so you don't have any kind of hypothesis to change them. And I began this kind of thing 3 weeks ago when I decided to go to the road after the end of pandemic or the end of confinement and to stay at home. And I went to the road. And I went at that time, I went to Oporto, to Aveiro, to Viseu, to Coimbra, to Pombal, to Trás-os-Montes, to Algarve, to Castelo Branco. And what is my surprise, that everybody, when I spoke, they accept to vote on me. You said, you really, you can grant that they will vote on you. I believe on the word of the persons, and they don't have any. They asked to meet me, and they invited me to go there and to speak with them, to dinner with the members of the board, to dinner with the president of 5 or 6 houses, to dinner or to lunch or to have meetings with people around the country with the cases. And then I got surprised with the impression that they had that if we want to change Benfica, we cannot keep the same commercial idea and the same business idea of Benfica. Benfica is a sportive project, is a club, is not a company, is a football team, is not a public company that the shares and shareholders must win money in the bourse. No, in the stock exchange. Benfica is a sportive project, and I think that the people around the country, I'm speaking about Portugal, they would like to change, and I think that I will have some surprises to them. Of course, they began 1 month ago. They have the majority, and they have almost 100% of them. And that we have only votes. I don't know if we have 30th of October. I can imagine that my idea is that the president will anticipate the elections because it was with so many problems. Every day we are speaking and then we are hearing that will come a new problem next day or next week. So there is a mess, and I don't know if you will can wait till 30th of October. So in my idea, I'm waiting for the anticipation of the elections. And till the end, last day, I will do all the things that I can do. I'll travel around the country just to convince everybody, every house, every vote, every member of Benfica, then they must change the opinion about Benfica. To close my opinion, you says that a lot of people are outside elections. Benfica has 250,000 members. There are 130,000 members that are paying the fees, the monthly return fees or monthly fees. So normally they used to vote 15, 16,000. I think that if you have 20, 22, 23, 25,000, I will win the elections. This is my goal, to convince the people that they must vote against and for they want.
And so one thing we got to do, and we'll do it at some point ourselves on our show, is to explain how to vote, because it's very hard for the people outside, especially English-speaking people, to know the process. So we're going to be gathering some information and maybe making a video to explain to socios in Canada, the UK, and in Canada how to actually count. Because I know a lot of socios here in my town, a lot of socios that live in my town. There's a lot of Benfica socios. I ask if any of them vote. None of them ever voted because you got to be in Lisboa to vote. And I'm like, it's not really the case. There's ways around it. It's just I
nowadays they can vote by electronic way.
I think it's important. I think people, the more they learn about that. I did want to touch on one more thing. I know I'm taking a lot of your time. So
feel free. We can continue, no problem.
Awesome. The one thing I was curious. One thing I like and I appreciate that you've done is obviously selfishly we appreciate that you're talking to us, but I've seen you talking to many people. I've seen it in different newspapers, different media. I feel in recent years, and historically Benfica is a member club and we're very open, very transparent. We have conversations. But in recent years, I feel like it's become very closed, where communication is only through BTV. It's very rarely we communicate outside. It's an us against them mentality. And I understand there's a lot of drama, media in Portugal, but I feel it does a bit of disservice, because I feel a reporter on BTV, they might do good work, but they kind of feel obliged to ask questions a certain way and not push certain topics. A reporter on RTP or elsewhere will push it because they work for RTP, I guess, right? Like, it's different. I feel, let's say if you're a president, do you feel like BTV should be a little bit more, yes, keep using BTV, BTV is a good platform, but be more open outside of the apparatus?
Of course. When you only can get surprised when the people of PTV announce them to the Benfica world that they will not cover the elections. What for a media TV, for a media structure? What will be the most important moment of a structure of a company, of an institution, is electoral campaign. And can you imagine Benfica TV workers decided, so you must learn, the president decided and obliged them to do that they will not cover the elections. Why? Because they don't want to discuss the projects that we have. Second, the president of Benfica don't accept to discuss the Benfica because they don't go to debates with the other candidates. So because this is the best president, is don't want to speak about projects. He is afraid of speak about is in fact, because the only project he has is the commercial one nowadays. Can you imagine that other guys that are very important members of Benfica, of society, as freedom rights, as freedom combat, like the director of Benfica, the Benfica newspaper, José Martins, now the other guys, for example, the chairman of the Mesa Assembly General, the chairman of the General Assembly, and other guys, there are very guys very important that are very respected by their positions for the liberty, for freedom. And nowadays, what they are speaking, that they don't make any other news about Benfica except the one from the president. They don't go for debates. They don't invite the candidates for debates. They don't have news about the electoral campaign. So nothing. So this is the one thing that I must change when I arrive there, because it's impossible to have a free society with newspapers, TV from the other Soviet times. So this is a construction, an impossible construction, medias from the Soviet times, and a club that we would like to make a club from the coming years.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked. I didn't know that Benfica TV decided not to cover the elections. The reason it shocks me is because being here in the United States, in California, if you're not on Twitter like we are, if you're not listening to all the podcasts, there's one place that you get all this information from, and that's BTV. So if BTV isn't providing, the rest of its fans, the news, it feels like it feels, I don't want to say dirty, but it feels shady. It feels like I'm not being informed. All I just see is, they put everybody up on the pedestal all the time. But this is, I'm shocked to know that the BTV is not going to.
But the announcement was not made by the workers of PTV. It wasn't by the direction of Benfica, by the president, that in the discussion of the budget, says in a question from the other from a member, saying that Benfica TV, the workers has decided not to make the cover of the elections. So it was the direction who transmit the position from the. So it is a position not from the workers, but the direction. And of course, they will pay the wages, and they said you will not cover. We don't. It's forbidden to cover the other decision. This is Benfica nowadays. And this is Benfica that we must put an end, put a stone because this is a Benfica from not from the old days. Because as you remember, and it was one of the main important things. It was our orgulho, our how do you say in English? Orgulho, our proud.
Pride, yeah.
Proud. That is our proud. That is Benfica during the fascist during the Estado Novo. When you don't have elections in Portugal, we have elections in Benfica. When you don't have free elections in Portugal, we have free elections in Benfica, and you have special links to Benfica to the left wings, as you know, to people. And we have even a member of the Communist Party during the dictatorship that was president of Benfica. And nowadays, in democracy, Benfica had these kind of things. That is a change from Benfica that those guys, with the leadership of the president, don't allow to discuss Benfica inside the platforms of Benfica.
All right, I got a question about the presidency. Like a lot of presidencies, like let's say the United States of America's president, you do 8 years. Should the Benfica president have a certain amount of time?
No. The president of Benfica is the one that is in the place for 17 years old, and he don't want to leave because he has a lot of problems, and probably has more problems if he leave the presidency. And this is the reason why he's controlling everything, not to leave the presidency. This is another thing that I will promise to the members of Benfica. I will put a limit of 2 mandates of 3 or 4 years to the coming. And even if I'm not obliged to do that, I will promise to the members of Benfica that I will not be there for more than 2 mandates. And the second mandate is only if I'm winning the one that I'm promising, because I think that Benfica is so huge, and there's so many guys that can be present, that if we don't are winning, you have to move, you have to leave, because it's not impossible. Like this one that is saying this thing there, and the big clubs are nowadays improving those rules. 2 mandates, like Barcelona, like other guys, or if they are not, they are a public company. This is normal, and they choose the one from the shareholders. Not.
And how long is the mandate? How long is each mandate?
4 years. 4 years.
4 years each. Very similar to the president of the United States. You do 4 years, you win a second term, you do another 4 years, and then you ride off into the sunset.
Let me say one thing. After the president of the United States, not the president, but the presidency of the United States, Benfica is the second most important place in the world. So
I love it. I like to say more important because I was a Canada, so I care less.
Probably at the same level of the Queen of England, because we are linked with London now.
Yeah, with the time zone and everything. It's funny. But yeah, no, I think that's part of the problem we have today is this unlimited, there's no term limit. And if you have enough control over the media, especially with Benfica TV and online.
It becomes a monopoly.
And all of a sudden you surround yourself with people that only do what you say, it becomes a problem.
It will be a tough job, yes. It will be a tough job. Yeah.
What would you, so Jorge Jesus is the new one that's announced. So let's say, because it's October, let's say the election October, it's already partway through the year. With Jorge Jesus, would you, is your mindset to go, okay, you're the treinador. Let's see what you have right now, how things are going. What do you need? And let him do his thing while he's the treinador? Or how much say do you think you should have or not have if you're like high level as a president with the manager on the pitch? Is it more kind of say, this is your project, what are you missing right now? I'll let you know what resources we have, here you go? Or do you want to, like, how much control should a president have, let's say?
Let me say one thing. This is immoral, because the president is signing a contract for 3 years, paying Jorge Jesus 26.5 million euros. It's incredible how we can do that, and we are not looking. And they said that I will do that provisionally, and then I will check the things in the electoral campaign. But anyhow, this is the way that he thinks, because he thinks that the club is ownership, is owned by him, personally by him, even if it is for the members. But I used to say, and that is not my first time, I used to say a lot of times that Jorge Jesus is not my manager, my trainer, because I remember when he left, I remember when how he went to Sporting, and nowadays we have seen the. I have good memories about good memories because we won. Jorge Jesus never won against Benfica Championship, but I remember Jorge Jesus singing. I'm very happy because I'm not a Benfica fan. Calling us a very not a very good name. I remember the press conference when after he won 3-0 in Stadio de Luz the first year. He lost championship, but I remember the conference there. I remember all the things, and I remember, for example, that he says, I know very well how they win there. So even when he was here with us, so I remember that. But I think that Benfica in the coming days are not in a situation to sell and to pay 26 million to a guy just to fire him. So even if it was not my training, I will say that I will play if I have, if we can make a platform of understanding. I have ideas from Benfica. Probably Jorge Jesus has different ideas. We have to discuss that. But I would like to keep Jorge Jesus, not because he's my manager, but because he's a contract signed, and I think that Benfica must honor the signed contract that he has. Even if it was for a guy that this doesn't honor the respect, and that doesn't respect the possibility that the members of Benfica can fire him and can make him a loser in the coming elections of October or September.
Yeah.
Oh, well said.
Cool. And then mais uma coisa, and it's a little bit away from Benfica to a certain extent. So we had this recent situation called COVID. That was something that we couldn't control. And then o Benfica, o Porto Sporting get together with the Liga and discuss the reopening of the Liga. And the image it portrayed, and it's a constant issue in Portugal, that it's the big three dictating everything, how things are run, and everyone's along for the ride, and it doesn't matter about the other clubs as long as the big three are happy. And now today we have Aves, which didn't have the conditions to really be playing financially. They have issues, and there's the game maybe is at risk for this week with Benfica, and they might not play the last game with Porto Muniz. And I feel sometimes all three, both Benfica, Porto, and Sporting, get stuck in their world, and they don't work well not only together but with the Liga. As a president, what would you try to do differently with the Liga to try to, because it's good, we want Benfica to grow, we want Benfica to be successful in Europe, but our backyard is also important. If our Liga is not healthy and it continues to have more issues per se, it'll kind of bite us in a way, right? Because if more situations like this happen where a team has to forfeit and can't play because of financial issues, it could one day come back to haunt us. So what do you think we should do differently, or what do you think how Benfica should be, maybe be more involved, less involved, or? I know it's a tough question, I guess you could say.
No, it's not a tough question. No. I talked about that already, of course. Let me say one thing. I read an article saying that in Portugal, like the other, not the big five championships in Europe, but the other championships, will have problems in their championship with their clubs. They says that 15% of the clubs has no problems. In Portugal, 15% of the 18 clubs we are speaking about, Benfica, Porto, and Sporting. And if that I don't believe, but let's take it as a good thing. The other 15%, that means Braga, Guimarães, and Rio Ave, or Famalicão, or Setúbal, or something, or Boa Vista, or something like that, have small problems, but they will keep in a good shape with a lot of measures, and the other 70% will have problems and can disappear by economical reasons. And this is the picture that we have from Portugal and from other countries that are not belongs to the five major championships: Spain, Italy, France, Germany, and England. Okay, is the picture. So it's very, very difficult. So 2 or 3 things that we must think about that. I think that you are completely right that to be strong in Europe, you must have good championship in Portugal and good players and good teams in Portugal, because you are preparing the season, the Europe season, playing with Portuguese teams, not with European teams. So you must have in Portugal good teams and good championship and good challengers to play against first. So you have to improve the one of the things is to discuss the centralization of the TV rights, for example. That was a huge mistake that Benfica is doing. That is not make the centralization. Of course, we know the centralization is not possible to the guys that are inside Benfica, because Benfica had 40 million euros a season from Portuguese TV rights to have the matches. Nowadays, Benfica asked for 50% of the contract till the end of 2026. It means that when you are speaking about 40 millions of Portuguese TV rights and 45 or 50 millions from the European rights from the Champions League, you will have not 80 or 90, but you will have 80 or 90 less 20 millions, because they have already one. We never know where is the money, and we know that we are discussing, we are asking during a couple of months, and what we were told, because announced in this report that he paid half of the contract till the end to a Benfica, and Benfica what made put it in a fund and received the money, less 34 million euros during next 7 years. So it was not a good thing. But we must discuss the centralization of TV rights, because we have the big championship as that, and in Spain and Italy, they was decided by the government. When the clubs that don't accept that, like Real Madrid and Barcelona don't accept the centralization of the rights, was the government that make a decree to decide the centralization. The same what happened in Italy. So what I defend, what I support, that is Benfica as the main and the most important club in Portugal, must be the leader of the transformation of the rights. Not paying less than pays nowadays, but with a formula like the people that go to stadium, the people that see the matches in TV, the supporters, the capacity of the stadiums, etc., etc. And those are the things that Benfica must think about, that and must lead the project to make the improvement of the centralization of the TV rights. The other thing is to make more, for example, one thing that we discuss always is to reduce the presence of the teams in the first division. Like we have, for example, in Scottish, that we have 12 teams with 3 legs. Yeah. One at home, one and the other one in another. So it must make something to make the Portuguese championship more attractive, even to those guys that want football and want the very excitement from the championship to win and to buy the Portuguese rights in China, etc., etc. And of course, and then with that to go to Champions League or to the Europa League and to have good performance there. This is that 2 or 3 things. We can discuss other things. We can discuss if you must have 23 under 23 or B teams, or only under 23 only B teams. You know, for example, for me, I don't understand. We have B team and under 23. I understand by political reasons, because the B team belongs to the league, and the 23 belongs to the federation. And the one federation, Jorge Mendes is leading with Benfica and with the federation. Federation went to fight against Liga, against Red Provença. So it's necessary to put some projects to fight against the power of the league in Portugal. And then we construct the under 23. For example, I think Porto Sporting has no under 23. You know?
They don't.
But Benfica has, because they belong to, they have a partnership, a strategic partnership with Jorge Mendes. And then we have, this is the reason we have 150, 105 or 110 or 115 players playing in Benfica. Those kind of things that we have the relationship with some guys, with Jorge Mendes, for example, the special relations with Federation, because as I think it was Churchill that says that the great nations don't have permanent allies, that only they have only permanent interests. And Benfica is the biggest team in Portugal. We must have only permanent interests and not permanent allies. Jorge Mendes is not a good ally. This is one of the reasons why Benfica is losing every year is power in the middle of Portuguese football and in the middle of European football. I'm very sad about that.
That's good to know, because there's a lot of socios out there, a lot of Benfiquistas that don't like the amount of control these agents have. And they feel these agents are doing, applying undue pressure on players to leave sooner than they should, convincing Benfica to sign players that we shouldn't. And it's just a way of moving money from A to B to C. And so it's nice. I like hearing this. It's good. Alex, anything extra that comes to your mind at the moment, or?
No, for me, I'm just being in California. I'm still waiting for TV rights here in the United States one day, because I just think it's funny. Like I subscribe to BTV. I pay $20 a month to have BTV, and I only can watch half the games. That's a little frustrating. You know what I mean? It's a little odd to me that I pay this money and I can only watch home games. So I'm still hoping and waiting that one day, you know, there somehow I can turn the TV on upstairs and I can watch Benfica on my TV instead of have to hook my computer up to my television.
And here in Canada,
can I tell two things? Yeah. The first one is about, for example, I will shut my mouth immediately. But for example, BTV, Benfica supporters are the only one who have to pay twice to see the Benfica, because I pay to Sport TV to see Benfica abroad. And I paid 12 or 9 euros to Benfica at home if I don't have a place in the stadium. Second thing that it's impossible to do. Benfica announced that don't want to sell João Felix. Yes? Why I have to pay a commission of 10% for a deal and for a business that I don't want to do? If they appear with the money, you know, I don't want to sell it. So if they appear with the money, they pay to me 120,000 and 120 million euros. I say good. There are the rules, and I keep it. Why I have to pay 10% to a guy that is in the middle of a business that I don't want to announce to everybody that I don't want to do? Do you know? If we are speaking about 10 million euros, 12 million euros, it's impossible. That there's no justification. No way to be paid.
Yeah, no, and it's all about how you negotiate these contracts, and it's these funny terms we set up. And early on, you brought up Zikovic, and I think he's a good example where he seemed like a player that was bought with the intention to sell, and so they made this funny contract where you have this escalating salary, and because things didn't work out the way they planned, when you do these funny contracts, then you get Benfica's the one that's on the hook now for this very big salary, and hope Zikovic turns it around. He does well, but it's putting not getting rid of agents are part of the business, that they're part of the industry, but to kind of put Benfica first, put the contract first, and if you happen to be the agent involved, it is what it is. But making it controlled and getting rid of some of that favoritism, because I do feel there is that. Anytime we're linked with a player, it's like, oh, okay, this must be a Mendes guy or some connection to Mendes somehow, or you know. But yeah, anything you'd want for anyone listening to know, anything extra maybe we missed that you'd want to touch on yourself, or
me? No.
Yeah. Anything extra that you'd want to tell anyone out there? Or?
No, just that you have a very high importance to convince the people that it's possible to change. It's possible to believe in another Benfica, in the Benfica of our dreams, in the Benfica of sportive team. and that Benfica that be. I don't know if I will win the elections, but I don't know if winning the elections I will run every year to be the to be champions to win Champions League. But I think that we must begin, and I have the idea. I think that if we don't care about business and we care about football, if we don't care about figures like just to announce that we have good deals and we have good victories, it will be the difference between the guys that are still there and the one that I'd like to perform. Let me tell one thing just to finish. Porto, in the 15 years ago, was announcing every year that is selling more and more and more. That sell players to all other important teams of Europe, and says that is the club that sells more and more and more every year. Do you know where they are? In an insolvent situation, in the intervention with the UEFA, and this year was they were saved by the UEFA change of rules and by Benfica president that gave the championship to them. And this is the things that I don't want to be. That I don't want to be in a couple of years with a lot of problems, with the pandemic, with COVID-19 for sure, but with other mistakes and other bad decisions that will for sure be helpful decisions for Benfica in the future. And thank you for your invitation. Thank you for this.
Much appreciated. Thank you for coming
so
on.
much. Thank you. Yeah.
Every time you want, I would be a pleasure. It would be a pleasure for me because I understand that. And you know, to be a Benfiquista like you are is much more difficult because you come here only, I don't know, a couple of times, 1 year, two times a year. And I have the facility to go to stadium every time I want. And then I appreciate very, 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 very much. And then I think that you are not more Benfiquista than you are, but you are Benfiquista in a different way. And it's a very tough way to be Benfiquista. And congratulations to your passion, to your love. Benfica, it's a fantastic thing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night. Thank you again. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
All right, and that was part 2 of our interview with Rui Gomes Da Silva. We were blown away, honestly. We myself and Alex had a great time interviewing him. As the man said himself, he'll be back on. So make sure you hit up the comments, put out your thoughts, questions you'd like to see him answer in the future, and we'll reach out to him. We'll connect him again in the future. I love the fact that he's out and about, just putting himself out there, having honest conversations with Benfiquistas. We truly enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. Give us a like, give us a share, and as always, thank you so much for all your support, guys. And part 3 is really me and Alex. We just kept recording, and it kept going, and it was just me and him talking, so we decided to post it for the heck of it. All right, guys, have a great evening.